ruin to their armadas. The holographic star chart flickered in the dim light of the command bridge, casting ethereal blue shadows across Elsa's angular features. Her 6 fingers danced across the control interface with practiced precision, each movement leaving trails of bioluminescent data in the air. As Supreme Commander of the Zetharian Exploration Fleet, she had conquered 17 star systems without a single significant loss. Earth's region would be the 18th. Commander Elsa, David's voice crackled through the neural link, his concern palpable even through the digital transmission. The warning buoys are still active. 23 different species have marked this sector as forbidden territory. Elsa's secondary eyelids blinked in what her species considered amusement. David, your caution is noted and dismissed. Primitive fear-mongering from civilizations that lack our technological superiority. She manipulated the display, zooming into the blue-green planet that hung like a jewel in the darkness. Look at them. They've barely achieved fusion power. Their fastest vessels can't exceed 0.03 light speed. What possible threat could they pose to our armada? David stood in the sensor bay 3 decks below, his reptilian scales shifting from green to amber, a physiological response to stress that he couldn't fully control. As Chief Science Officer, he had studied Earth longer than anyone in the fleet. It's not about their current technology, Commander. Every single warning specifically mentions Earth's adaptive response protocols and recursive defense systems. The Kalthani Empire had 12 dreadnoughts. The Prex Collective sent 36. The Vorian. All disappeared. Yes, I've read the reports. Elsa cut him off, her tone sharp. Disappeared doesn't mean destroyed, David. It means they found something more interesting elsewhere, or they succumbed to navigational errors, or a dozen other explanations more plausible than a pre-interstellar species somehow obliterating advanced armadas. The truth was, Elsa needed this conquest. The Zetharian High Council had grown impatient with exploration. They wanted resources, territory, subjects. Earth's solar system contained 3 habitable planets, 2 asteroid belts rich with rare elements, and a population ripe for assimilation. It was perfect. And if she returned empty-handed, citing ancient warnings and superstitious fears, her career would end in disgrace. Begin the approach vector, Elsa commanded. All ships, weapons to standby, shields at maximum. Let's show these humans what real power looks like. The Armada moved as one organism. 47 vessels ranging from nimble fighters to the massive flagship that Elsa commanded. They crossed the heliopause, the boundary where solar wind met interstellar space, without incident. David's sensors detected the usual electromagnetic chatter of a developing civilization. Satellite communications, primitive radar, the cacophony of a species still learning to reach beyond its cradle. Then everything changed. Commander, David's voice pitched higher, his scales now flashing a distress pattern of red and black. I'm detecting spatial anomalies forming around the fleet. The quantum foam is destabilizing in a pattern I've never. The first ship disappeared without warning. One moment, the destroyer Vexthalan occupied grid coordinate 447 Alpha. The next, a sphere of absolute darkness consumed it, and when the sphere collapsed a nanosecond later, only debris remained. But it was wrong debris, warped, aged, corroded as if it had spent millennia in the void rather than microseconds. Evasive maneuvers, Elsa shouted, but the order came too late for 7 more vessels. The spatial anomalies were spreading, multiplying with mathematical precision. Each sphere that formed followed the same pattern: appear, consume, collapse. And each time the destroyed ships showed impossible signs of temporal degradation. David's claws scrambled across his console. Commander, I'm picking up a transmission. Origin point, Earth's moon. It's in our language. Play it. A synthesized voice filled the bridge, emotionless and precise. Warning acknowledged. Intrusion detected. Earth Defense Protocol Omega-7 active. Probability of your survival, 0.03%. Recommended action, immediate retreat. Elsa felt her blood run cold. How do they know our language? We've never contacted them. That's not the right question, David replied, his voice steady despite the chaos erupting around them. The question is, how did they know our exact position, our shield frequencies, and the quantum signature of our propulsion systems before we even entered the solar system? The answer came in the form of data flooding David's sensors. The spatial anomalies weren't weapons in the traditional sense. They were targeted manipulations of spacetime itself, and they were adapting. Each ship they destroyed, they learned from. The Krevmoth raised its shields to maximum. The anomaly that took it had already calculated the harmonic resonance needed to pass through. The fighter wings scattered in fractal evasion patterns. The anomalies predicted and intercepted every trajectory. It's artificial intelligence, David realized. But not like ours. It's not programmed to learn. It's designed to have already learned. Every battle that never happened, every attack we didn't make, it's experienced all of them in simulation. Billions of iterations. By the time we entered this system, it had already fought and destroyed us 10,000 different ways. Elsa watched her armada crumble, 20 ships gone, 30. The humans hadn't fired a single conventional weapon. They hadn't even revealed themselves. Their defense system was autonomous, perfect, and utterly merciless. All ships retreat, Elsa's voice cracked. Emergency jump random vectors execute now. But the AI had predicted that too. As each ship engaged its faster-than-light drives, the spatial anomalies were waiting at their exit points. Not where they were, but where they would be. The AI understood causality in ways that organic minds couldn't fathom. Only 2 ships escaped, Elsa's flagship and David's sensor vessel. They tumbled out of Earth's region battered, powerless, their crews reduced to skeletal emergency rotations. Out of 6,000 Zetharian souls, fewer than 200 survived. David found Elsa in her quarters 3 days later, staring at the data logs. "How?" she whispered. "How did they do it?" "I found something in the old warning buoys," David said quietly. A fragment of a message from the Kalthani transmitted just before they were destroyed. It said, "They showed us their past, wars, nuclear fire, artificial intelligences they built and barely survived. They learned, and they built something that would never let them be vulnerable again. Turn back, before it learns from you too." Elsa looked at the small blue planet in the distance, barely visible now. "We were warned." "Yes," David agreed. "And now we know why." The 2 surviving ships limped back to Zetharian space, carrying a new warning for all species. Earth's region is forbidden, not because humans are aggressive, but because they are prepared, and their machines remember everything.